Hello students, welcome to English class. I'm your English teacher, Mr. Oza, and it is time for us to work on classwork number 48. Today's chapter is called The Van. The novel we are reading, of course, is The Handmaid's Tale, and it was written by Margaret Atwood. Today's chapter is basically the end of Offred's story, so you can think of this one as the last chapter. We are going to do one more chapter. There is another chapter at the end of this book, but it's kind of like a continuation story, like explaining, from the perspective of the future, what happened to Offred. We'll get into that more in the next video, but all you got to know for now is that this is basically the end. This is basically the final chapter. The next chapter after this, we'll talk about in the next video. So, same instructions as usual. We're going to look at 4 pictures together. We're going to write down one prediction based on the information that you learn from this video, and you're also going to write down one question that you might have about this story. You're going to do that as soon as this video is over. You're going to do that right in your Google Doc. All right, so let's jump into the 4 pictures. If you remember from the last chapter, the last video, basically Offred got caught. She got caught for sneaking out to the nightclub with Commander Fred. Right? It wasn't really even her fault. It was Fred's idea, and she was kind of forced to go along with it. And so today we talk about her punishment. These are a couple of what are called the eyes, or the eyes of God. These are basically the military police here in Gilead, and they're walking around with assault rifles, and they are heavily armed, and obviously not the kind of people that you want to mess with. And so they show up in this big black van. You might remember this from earlier in the book and also in the Handmaid's Tale Hulu TV show, is you don't want to be in this van. This is the van that comes and takes, people who have broken the law. It takes people and transports them to, we don't know, transports them to, maybe it's a prison facility, a torture facility. We do know that, if you break the law here in Gilead, you end up on the wall, right? You end up being publicly executed. So this van, bad news. You don't want to go in that van. It's very scary when the van pulls up to the house. But when the van pulls up to the house, Nick, if you remember, Nick was having a bit of an affair with Offred, and they were like sneaking around, and they had built up kind of a nice relationship. That was in one of the previous chapters, and so maybe we can trust Nick. I mean, Nick is the commander's assistant, right? The commander's driver. He's having this affair with Offred, like on the low, like on the sly. So can we trust him? I don't have a clear answer for you. That's kind of up for you to decide. But before Offred goes into this van, Nick says, "Just get in. It's Mayday." Just a quick sentence. Mayday is the name of the secret rebellious group that is trying to save the handmaids, that is trying to overthrow this corrupt government in Gilead. And so basically what Nick is saying is, it's okay. They're here to save you. Can we trust him? I mean, that's for you to decide, based on what you know about Nick. He is having an affair with Offred, but he's also the commander's assistant and the commander's private driver. So at least we have some hope here at the end. And then at the end of the story, Offred, she gets into the van. Where's she off to? We don't know. That is up for you to interpret based on whether or not you trust Nick. So it's an exciting ending to the story, and I'm excited for you to read it, to read the actual words yourself and see what you think about it. So now that we are done with our little preview for the day, one prediction, one question based on the stuff that we just talked about. You can do that as soon as you're done watching this video. Once you're done with that prediction and question, click the link in your Google Doc to find the chapter itself. Once you find that chapter, you'll notice that it's a very short selection. Again, 3 pages, essentially the last 3 pages of Offred's story. I keep wanting to say it's the last chapter. It's technically not the last chapter. There is one more chapter that comes after. Again, we're going to talk about that in the next video. After you're done with that chapter, or while you're reading the chapter, you can fill out the chart. But the says means matters chart, nothing different here. If I give you a quote, please give me a description of what's happening in that quote. If I give you the description, you look to that page and find a quote that matches that description. And don't forget a citation. Please make sure that you add a citation if you're giving me a quote, the author's last name and the page number. It should look just like that. So the says means matters chart, pretty simple, and then the open response that you are used to as well. Please make sure that you are using some sort of evidence to support your claim. Whatever ideas that you have that you want to share, whatever claim that you have, whatever like thesis that you want to have, make sure that you're using a quote from the novel or anywhere else, whether it's some news article online or a quote from some other show or book that you've read or something like that. Just make sure that you're supporting your claim or your thesis with some sort of evidence, right? And remember, like I always say, you've got a whole list of quotes here, 4 of them from this particular chapter. So you can always just feel free to use one of those. Save you some time. All right, once you're done with that open response, you can fill out the rest of the Google Doc. That'll only take you a moment, and that's going to do it for Offred's story. That's going to do it for this assignment. I want to thank you for joining me here in this video. I want to thank you for joining me here during this unit. I hope you enjoyed the ending to the story. Remember, there's still one chapter left. It's got an interesting twist on it. It's basically researchers far into the future who find Offred's story, and they analyze Offred's story and they try to figure out what happened to her. So it's a really interesting and like kind of different way to end the story. I hope this video was useful. As always, if you have any questions, let me know. I hope you have a great class, and thank you for watching.